Hi, my name is Samuel James Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single week I give you a weekly top-down analysis for Bitcoin, Total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, and I even have two special charts towards the end that you may want to pay attention to. They're two hot altcoins that have some amazing setups. So stay to the end if you want to see what happens with those charts. I'm excited. You should be excited. Today, we really hit the all-time high. A couple days ago, we hit the all-time high and tapped it, but today we really went above and beyond. We cleared it. We went into the 69,000 levels, into 69,250, even into the futures account. 70,225 I have here on spot, all the way to $70,000. So beautiful time to be alive. Let's talk about it. If you were watching my weekly analysis ever since I've done them every single Friday, it's only the things you needed to watch. Like if you watched just that video once a week for 20 minutes, every single week, I had you spot on all the way to the upside here for Bitcoin. The last week we said there wasn't much resistance here, and it was very likely we were going to go to all-time highs probably by the next week. We did exactly that for Bitcoin. So now what? Well, we broke above 65.5, the closest weekly support that we can find. You would suggest that Bitcoin would come down and possibly bounce off of it or make some type of flag on the bigger time frames. We are away from the 21-day moving average. In my lifetime, that's pretty far away. However, in pretty big rallies, you can start to kind of move away from it, and it can just eventually catch up with some sideways price action. So, okay, but it has me starting to be a little more concerned on the bigger time frames. The 5-day got the golden cross. We talked about it. We could see that the 50 was coming. That told us a big move was coming for Bitcoin, and lo and behold, a big move came. Remember back here when I said once we get above the 200 SMA on the 5-day, remember this for the rest of your life. If you want to make a long-term trade on if you want to put a lot of money, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice. But if I want to put a lot of money in an asset, I look for the 5-day chart to get above the 200 SMA. That usually tells me that there's a lot of buying behind it, and it's ready for a big move further up. And that's probably going to take a year or two of loveliness. So depending on the asset, but that means there is a long-term buy coming that should pay you pretty well. When you see this sign for the rest of your life, remember it. 5-day, 200 SMA. Anyway, so I saw all these signs because I know the moving averages the way I do. It told me likely Bitcoin was going to make this pretty big move to the upside. And so far, we've been correct all along for BTC. So where do we start? Where's the bearish scenario? Well, what I see is we're just away from the 21 a little bit on the daily. But honestly, it comes down to the 12-hour time frame. That's the best time frame. And we're oversold. Yet we've gone sideways. So despite Bitcoin being so bullish, it really is just consolidated while the stochastics has reset. So the stochastics have gone down while Bitcoin has gone up. And just conservatively, you have a move here up to about 76,000. And then if you take the whole length of this pole, we have a move further up, even bigger there. It takes us all the way to about $86,000. So I see a move to $86,000, $88,000 in the short term. That's what I see happening for Bitcoin. And, the 12 hours suggests that even by next week, I may be giving you guys a $76,000 Bitcoin. Highly suggest that this will break out because the Stokes reset while price went sideways. This was the bearish div. That's all it got. Now we're on a reset of the stochastics. Lack of bearish momentum in the MACD. Really no bearish momentum at all. All right. What's the bearish scenario is that this is a little bit of bearish div there. We struggle, we bounce. We have a resistance. We just can't seem to close candles back above this level. And we start to go to the downside. We lose this 21. First thing that will happen is we'll lose 66,000. Then we'll lose the 21-day moving average here on the 12-hour. And we'll come and test 60,000. At that point, I will have done an update for my trading group of people. I probably would have gone live. And we'll suggest what to do from there. So bearish scenario is that we lose this trend line and we start to fall down. So far, that's not what I see happening. So far, I see pretty big moves coming for Bitcoin. And again, I'll change my tune, keep watching my live stream each week. But what I see here is a move to $76,000 and possibly up to $86,000 in the coming few weeks for Bitcoin as we get into the halving. Moving forward to the total market cap. The last time we were together, I showed you this flag suggesting that we would move to the upside. We did. Bitcoin had the crazy crash, got bought up, and here we are again. When I map this out, you can see clearly we're in a bit of like a rising wedge or in somewhat of a ascending triangle. Yet again, if you take the wick away that happened, that's a beautiful channel. Suggest that we continue up to 273. That's also past the bigger target that we gave you from the very start. If we go out here to the daily, And to the bigger time frames, you can see that we wanted to get to 239. That's exactly where we get. That was the length of this pull to the upside. And when I look at the weekly for all of this, okay, and I take away, the smaller time frame stuff, which I can rebuild in a second. But right now, you can see that we're in that rising wedge on the smaller time frame. So look, our target here was to 236. We broke above that nicely. You can see that we do have some resistance, and we broke back above that too. So 2.4 is our next support as long as we stay above it. It looks like we can shoot up on the total market cap to 273 and then even break, our next real resistance. So the total market cap has really no resistance right now. It's in free mode. The next resistance is 280. So I expect us to close this gap and go up to $2.8 trillion. I just don't see why we won't. There's just no resistance. And just like if you were dumping, and there was no support, you would continue to fall till you find support. It's the exact same story here. So I see a move coming. Again, we can watch the 12-hour time frame. It's the same flag Bitcoin's in. Right now, Bitcoin's playing games at the tip of this flag. There's just a little bit of a liquidity battle, but once that gets sorted out, we're likely to move further to the upside, and the next target is 3.1 trillion. We will break the $3 trillion level. The 12-hour suggests that this could happen. Total 3, I made this big green candle, so no one could say that I didn't say we were going to the upside. I wanted to be really clear that I'd called a big move. Why? Again, it was the 5-day chart. I noticed that we had just gotten above the 200 SMA on the 5-day chart. If you take away everything, that was it right there. That told me that in the next 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5-day candles, this one closes in 2 days, so it's been really 10 days. This is where I bought into Solana for $100,000. This is where I bought into some big altcoins for big moves because I said, man, the last time Bitcoin did this, and then you get the golden cross eventually. When this Bitcoin already had its golden cross, the altcoins are that much far behind. See, they're like 2 months behind in progression of the chart. So I love what I'm seeing. This flag broke out. Everything is going to plan as we talked about before. We could delete everything here, and we'll start fresh again for you. But you can see resistance. But I just wanted to make it clear, I have been long this whole time. I've been telling you they're going to print money. I keep telling you guys that the altcoins are going to continue to go to the upside. This cross is significant. When the 21 crosses the 200 on the 5-day, it's a very, very big deal. So let's take a look here. We have a little bit of resistance on these wicks in here. So there's a little resistance where we hit at 716, but it's not that strong. The only real place right there is 743. So once we break up to 743, bang, we may get somewhat of a pullback. Let's look at the 4-hour. So everything's kind of watching this same pattern here, this like wacky bit of a rising wedge that we're in. Honestly, with all the bullishness going on, there's a chance this breaks out. The 4-hour right now suggests that we dump. So look for this to kind of, hold. If this loses this trend line, we could drop down to the 200 SMA. That's the bearish scenario, is we lose this trend line, then we drop down here. And even if we lose this trend line, there's a chance it makes some type of flag here and we end up breaking to the upside. So it's okay if the 4-hour does pull back. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if that 4-hour ends up just like flipping back up and we ended up pumping to the upside. So just be careful. Look at the bigger time frames. Pay attention. But right now, you do have strong support for the altcoins. This is all the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. You have strong support for the altcoins at $633 billion. And as long as we hold this trend line, or if we make a flag and touch and hold that level, I just see 859 coming for the altcoins in one or two ways. So watch this rising wedge flag. This is the first thing that we have to pay attention to here. 1 hour, 2 hour, right? See that we get back above on the smaller time frames. Once we break above this, it negates the fact that this is falling down. So if you can get to the $710 billion region, it's very likely we're probably going to start headed up to $856 billion. So the total market cap for these altcoins looks good, like they're going to continue to go parabolic to the upside. Bitcoin dominance, we had a little pullback, and even here a little bit for the altcoins now. But if you can see it on the weekly, it's getting a golden cross, and it's making a shoulder, head, and shoulder inside of an ascending triangle. A couple more weeks of sideways price action, if or maybe less, and this tells me that Bitcoin dominance is about to rip. When Bitcoin dominance is low like this on the weekly and showing signs of a move up, it's telling me that there's going to be a massive move for Bitcoin. This makes sense and is on par. If this didn't look like this, it wouldn't make sense that we were going to go to 80K. This makes sense that we're going to go to some huge, huge levels. Bitcoin dominance is set up for a massive move. Tether dominance, we talked about it with you. We showed you how if you lose the 200 SMA on any time frame, it's bearish. Losing it on the weekly is a major sign of bearish. U.S. Tether dominance going into a bear market, and that's what we need to go into a bull market. We showed you this symmetrical triangle. We showed you that, which was the measured move. We got there. Then we talked about losing the 200 SMA, I believe, on the 4-hour time frame. We did that, and we got the dump to the downside. We made this little flag. It continued down. I've been tracking this for you guys every single day, every single week, and every single move that I keep giving you guys continues to fall to the downside. What do I see happening here? Even though it has bearish div, it's just in this nasty pattern. And just like Bitcoin, we kind of have to, like, that's Bitcoin's, rising wedge. Sorry. That's Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin's rising wedge that we're in right now. You can see how they completely mirror each other. And there's kind of like a shoulder ahead and a right shoulder vibe there. I see this continuing to the downside. As long as you don't get back above 419, this is going to continue further down. Its next target is at 3.5. The Stokes are pushing up and saying they want to move, but we have major resistance and we keep losing 200 SMAs. As long as we stay below the 200 SMA here on the 1 hour, we will continue to the downside to the bigger target that I have at 3.52%. And that's Tether dominance. That's how much money is in Tether. No one wants to be in Tether right now. It's pegged to the dollar. The dollar is getting printed to zero. So there's a lot of reasons. And then every other coin is hotter right now. Like there's AI. There's just people are 10x and 50xing. Why would you be in something that's stable when you can 50 to 10x your money, right? We take a look at the ES1 S&P futures. I kept telling you this was going to continue to the upside and pump. It did. It did exactly what we said. Each time we drew the flag, it continued. I drew this flag. I said my target is 5273. We got pretty close to 5255. Now what? It's closed on Friday while it's oversold inside of a flag. I don't know how you guys, I don't like to trade the traditional markets too much. Look how they gap around like this. But if I had to trade this at what I was looking at, what a funky trading day. Honestly, little of a pullback, but you have support right here, okay? Look for this to bounce in the morning. Look for the 1 hour to bounce. You're very oversold. Look for the 1 hour to bounce and start to consolidate. To me, the pattern was just something like this. You came in. I would look for this. And again, when I come back next week, I wouldn't be surprised if this pattern is just halfway filled out. We'll take a shift here, hold shift, push it down. And in about, 7 days. So when I get back, honestly, I think it looks like in 7 days this will be a pushed out. They'll have printed more money, and we actually would be breaking out. So next week, when I come back on Friday, it looks like we're going to be somewhere up in here, maybe in the middle of this breakout to the upside. That's what I'm suggesting for the S&P futures, and everything I've been saying has been spot on ever since I gave you the giant cup and handle here and called the bottom in October of the entire market based off 3-day hidden bullish divergence and this giant cup and handle to the upside, which is played out exactly like it was supposed to. Cup with a handle, and it goes straight up. I showed you guys this. I talked about it. I went over it every single week in the weekly analysis. The NQ, same thing. I see the NQ breaking out. Little pullback today, but not a big deal. I see a bounce retest, and us fully going up to 20,000. This is also the cup and handle that I had printed here. This is doing the same thing. S&P and NASDAQ, they do the same thing. The target is 21,680. They continue to print money. I don't see how we don't get there midsummer into the fall. Here come the surprise charts that you never thought you were getting. Boom. Orange. This thing is an amazing app, which is for the BRC20 ecosystem, and it works great. It's awesome, and it has a big community. It's amazing. It kind of has a backwards Adam and Eve, where the dagger's here and the round is there, but that's a sign of a move, and then you come up here and make some type of flag. It also pumped up, came back down for about a month and a half, and retraced back down to the wick at the 786. It just pierced the golden pocket. It's now sitting at the 0.5 fib. This is where a lot of institutions like to get busy when they get back into projects. This is when I study so many different assets in my life. They come back to this area, and they boom to the upside. Yes, the 12 hours a little high. I don't like that. But if you look at the daily's oversold. Your 4 hours pretty coming down to the downside. So this is where I would start to maybe not buy a whole boatload, but this is where I start to accumulate and be dollar cost averaging into ORNJ. We got into it early when it first came out. We knew all about it. 11. I sold at 37. It went all the way to 81. What a crazy move. It's now retraced back into the $39, $40 level. And this thing looks like it's poised for a move of 140% back to 110. Shiba Inu is doing something crazy. It's getting tighter and tighter with an Adam and Eve double bottom. I don't know about you, but this looks like something massive is happening for SHIB, and looks like there's going to be a meme explosion like we've never seen. The first level, and it could go higher than this, is 297 with 4 zeros. A stop with 4 zeros at 3,000 is appropriate. And I see SHIB making a massive move for the upside. I can't wait to revisit this chart next week and see what happened. How many gains would come out of this if it did hit it? 82% gains out of Shiba Inu. So Bitcoin, already back up a couple $100 since I last talked about it here. So I see this moving to the upside on the 12-hour time frame. Stop loss below the wick at 65.79. Target up to 86,000. This could be a monster trade that somebody could set up, and it very well may play out. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. This is your weekly analysis with the Lifer. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.